Ella, you were quite young when you met your abuser. How did you meet him and how old were you?
So I was 16 when I met him, and then I turned 17 when we was together. We met at like a house party sort of thing, when you're young and you're underage and everything's fun. We met there and we got together quite soon after. But then I went on holiday and I kissed someone. So it was all normal, all fine. And I went on holiday. I was 17. I kissed someone. I shouldn't have done it. And then he went into my Facebook and found that I had done it, basically. And then that was when everything just went wrong.
Were there any signs of him being abusive before? You say that it happened after the holiday incident, so it just went from being a nice, loving relationship.
I was still young, so it wasn't like a full-on. Do you know what I mean? It's really hard because it wasn't like a full-on love at first. It was just like you're seeing someone. But I did have one telltale sign that his ex-partner rung me when we was first getting together to warn me. And he told me that it was all a lie, none of it was true, and that she's nuts and she's just trying to get him back, which I believed. And then I just responded to her, stop trying to get my boyfriend back. And then that was the only telltale sign I had.
That was the red flag, I guess.
That was the red flag I should have listened to, but obviously didn't.
And when you came back from holiday, what did the abuse look like and how fast did it escalate?
Quick. So I felt very guilty for what I'd done. So I think he played on that because he knew I felt guilty and I shouldn't have done it. So every time, so it started off with the first time I remember, he kind of pinched me, like pushed me and pinched me. And because it's so little, I didn't really take much consideration to it. And then it just built up over time, and a pinch turned to a push turned to a slap turned to a punch turned to strangulation. So, but because it was quite often that I just kind of didn't think that it was a problem, basically. Yeah, it was weird.
Were you similar in age with him?
Yeah, literally about a year or two between us. He was older, but not a massive age gap, just a couple of years.
Are there any incidences in particular that stick out for you? So you say they started off as a pinch and then they escalated over time. Is there anything that sticks out in your head that you remember to this day?
I have a few memories. So I have a memory of I had the strength to leave him and he turned up at my parents' house and told me to get in the car. And at that point I was ready to leave properly, but guess it's kidnapped. He basically drove off and beat me while I was in the car and I couldn't escape. And then by the end of the journey, it was like a 2-hour just driving around with like random punches and stuff. But by the end of the journey, I was just like done and just got back with him. So that's one that quite sticks to me because that makes me feel quite guilty because I think I should have just got out the car at the end and just told my parents or told the police, but I didn't. Other things that are massive red flags, but at the time I was just under the control, was whenever we used to have sex, he always used to put porn on and would tell me before we had sex that I would never look like them, that he's just thinking about them while having sex with me and that I'm basically just like a vessel. So that was quite damaging to basically my confidence.
That sounds like it's pretty demoralising.
It was, and there was no enjoyment really in it at all. And it's just, I just can't believe I actually let someone treat me like that and believe it.
You were so young, that's coercive control.
But yeah, I still hold a lot of guilt.
It's had a long lasting effect on you.
And because it's been 13 years, I feel like I'm stronger as a person and I feel like I find it easier to talk about. But the things that I get upset about is like guilt. I feel like my siblings, my parents, just feel like I let a lot of them down. And I still feel like that because, no, I know it's stupid, but that side of things still feels like it's my fault. Like I shouldn't have let it get that far. And even though I know it's not my fault, the guilt side with my family, I feel like just so annoyed that I let myself get to that point.
There's a lot of self-blame.
Yeah, I still have that. It's like I'm over the abuse as such, But the self-blame side of things, still like 13 years, you'd think it'd be gone by now, but still stuck for me.
You mentioned that your mum knew what was happening. Did anyone in your family try to get you away from him?
My mum and dad, they was amazing. They tried everything to get me away, but they knew that in the end I needed an ultimatum to either him or them, and obviously I picked him, and it broke them. Like, absolutely broke them, and that's why I feel so guilty. And I'm not going to say sorry. Yeah, it's just, they knew that I had to go with him to realise how bad it was, because I just didn't see it. So I lived with him and his family for, I think it was about 3 or 4 months. So I always feel like it doesn't sound enough because people go through it for years and years. But even in that short amount of time, it's like affecting me sometimes even now. Yeah, it's just, it was hard.
How isolating were those 3 and 4 months?
Oh, horrendous. I was still working. I couldn't drive. And this is something that I actually can't believe even happened. So I used to have to get a bus to work, and he would tell me that he was going to drive behind the bus. And if I lifted my head up from my lap, he'd know and he'd beat me. But obviously he wasn't driving behind the bus, but I honestly believed that he was. So I used to sit on the bus like this, not look up at full until I got to my stop, which is about 25 minutes. And I just literally look back now and I'm like, how did I actually let that happen? Like, it actually blows my mind.
What was the turning point where you were living with him? Yeah. You were isolated from your family, from your friends, people that you once loved. What was that turning point for you?
My turning point was, I had lost a lot of friends during the process, and I'd heard through the grapevine that he had told my friends that everything that I had said to them was a lie, and he'd said that I was making it up. He's never hit me. He's never spoken badly about me. It's just, I'm nuts. And when I heard that he'd gone behind my back and told my friends that was when everything clicked, because I was like, that, like, the fact that he was making me look like a liar in front of my friends, and some of them believed it. Obviously, we grew apart, and that just triggered me. And I was just like, no, like that's not right. And then that was it. I was at work, and I can remember it like it was yesterday. I was at work, and a couple at work knew, because my mum rang up every day to see if I'd gone in and if I had any new bruises. And I told my work friends, and I was like, I can't, I've got to leave. I've been being abused for months. And I was like, okay, we're going to get in the car, we're going to go. Went to the house, and I don't know how he found out that I was leaving at that point, but he turned up, and my friends were waiting in the car, and they quickly got out of the car because they see him come. He ran, slammed the door in their faces, and it's just like, it literally feels like it wasn't me, like it was like a film. And obviously he just went ballistic. And then luckily he'd hurt his leg, so he was on crutches, so I was able to get away a lot quicker than what I probably would have. And then it turned to tears of please don't go, and I was literally done at that point. I was like, I'm never ever coming back.
And at such a young age, that must have been so scary for you to leave.
In that moment, I literally thought I was going to die.
What was the recovery like for you? Going back home, being around your family?
It was really hard. So they first put me in like a group setting, it was a safe house, but I didn't have to stay there. But everyone there was parents or older, so I felt like I didn't belong. And then that made me question if what had happened was bad enough. Do you know what I mean? It was like, I was wondering if I even was being abused, because everyone had children, they'd all been through it for years, and mine had only been like, a year in total. And that was quite hard. I'd done lots of therapy. I think I'd done it for 4 to 5 years until I'd done EMDR, and that was the turning point for me.
Did that help you?
I recommend it to everyone. I think it's amazing. I know everyone's different, but it helped me so much compared to the CBT and the therapy.
And I mean, I've followed you on Instagram for years now. I know how much your authenticity comes across in the content that you create and your community. I really want you to tell me a bit about what your life is like now.
So I would say my life now is everything I dreamed of. especially when I get emotional, I don't know why. Especially when I left that relationship, because I didn't think I'd ever get what I do now. I've got an amazing husband who has been through it with me since I was 18, so literally the year after. And we've been together, I'm now 31. He's been by my side through everything. Got 2 beautiful children, and I've got such a strong relationship with my family and friends. So that was all taken from me. So the fact I've got it back. That's why I just urge people, if they can, to just leave, because you just don't know what is coming. Like, happiness is going to come. And I would never have got my happy ending if I stayed.
Who referred you into the Safe House for the group sessions?
So it was all through my GP. I actually had a really good GP at the time. He dealt with a lot of like my family's mental health as well, so he was brilliant. He put me straight forward for everything, really. So I was really lucky in that respect.